oftentimes when we think about legacy, when we hear the word legacy, and when we're asked about what it is that we want to leave behind, we always go back to our passion. What is it that give us confidence, or things that we will feel fulfilled in? Now, what is a legacy? Let's break it down. A legacy is a gift left by will power. Now, your will, like we said in many videos, your will comes from the soul. Your soul's purpose as to why you're here. You're here on a mission to fulfill your purpose or your desired interest. A legacy. Legacy derives from the word legatus. My fault. It means ambassador. So you're an ambassador of your God's will. And we talked about prophecy. Prophecy is a spokesman or ambassador or interpreter of God's will. This is where your legacy comes from. However, men and women fulfill their legacy, differently. There are different ways, and we're going to get into the difference between a man's legacy and a woman's legacy. So your legacy comes from your will. First, you interpret the will of your own God, because we're all here to be creators, right? So we are a spokesman, speaking the word. Words are energetic frequencies, and aligning with your goals, aligning with your soul's purpose. So it is a gift left by willpower. We get our willpower from creating, being expressive, being performative, being imaginative. All things related to being of a child. Going back into your inner child. Okay? Now, men achieve on the rise, when they get on the rise, when they have a rise of fame, fortune, all these accolades and attributions, they have a lot of women around them. They have either a lot of wives, a lot of babies, mothers, children. They have a lot of kids. Okay? You can think about rappers, baseball players, and any man you can name. He will always be surrounded by women, children. He'll have a lot of children, because children and women are the gates of creation. They are what women. Womb is your portal of life, creation, the ebb and flow of life. That is why every successful man that you may see who has acquired and attained his wealth was because he had a lot of kids. And I don't know about y'all, but I've observed that men will say, oh, well, she held me down, and, she taught me this, she taught me all these things. And most of the time, not all the time, but majority of the time, women will feel drained, exhausted, because they exerted themselves, they exert their energy into building that man to the level of success that he has. That is why you have concubines, you have first ladies, mothers of the church. All of the patriarchy comes from women, because we are the ones that, women and children, we are the ones that hold the portals of life, the gates of heaven, creation. However, because men are taught by other men that you need to have a lot of babies, not necessarily. That's not necessarily the case. The greatest example of a man who is very successful and has attained a wealth and attain the level of success that he invented for himself, did not have children, or people say he had children, is MJ. Because he tapped in tune with the inner child, like his inner child, being a kid, being imaginative, creating all things that were fascinating to him. The things that he was fascinated with, he didn't let his sexual energy overpower him and overindulge in nonsense. He indulged in the things that fascinated him and brought him interest. That is how he was able to express, the moonwalk and all that kind of stuff. And, he did a lot of things and gained a lot of notoriety and success, right? Because he poured his energy into things that were useful. Also, using your energy, using your creation of your world with the intention, with being intentional, basically. Now, men are most likely to gain more advantage from women and children. Like I said, think about rappers, actors, singers, anyone who is artistically fascinated. The men that don't have kids, they become more of a child. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim Carrey, funny guy, very comedians, very funny. You get into tune with your inner child. Children are funny. Children, tell the truth. Children share their creative ideas and express themselves through artsy stuff. So men don't necessarily have to have a lot of kids or be around a lot of women. They could also become a child, become visionaries, and you become a visionary as a man by wielding your energy, your sexual energy. Sex creates success. I'll get to that in a minute. But remember, sex, your solar plexus, sacral chakra. This is your sex, sexual energy. Okay? This is the energy that kids are able to, all of us are able to create from our sexual energy. Virgins have higher magnetism. Being a child gives you higher magnetism for all the things that you want to acquire. When you put your attention goes, your energy flows where your attention goes. When you put your attention towards the things that give you interest and gives you light and a sense of fulfillment and peace and joy, that is where you gain your success. Because you have enough momentum to attain all the things of such. Okay? Women achieve, they become noble and have all this notoriety by birth rates being low, marriages, because when she focuses on herself, when women focus on themselves and all the things that gives them pleasure, okay, and gives them an acquired taste of interest, that is when they pour all their energy towards their passions, okay, your dreams, making your dreams come true. Making your dreams come true. Making all the things that you want to see come into your plane of existence. Come into your own world. That is why a lot of people prey on innocence. Because your innocence is not... Children are wild free. They're free. You're able to be free and be expressive with no limits. And whereas a woman that has children and this is not, I'm gonna get to women who have kids but do acquire success also. I'm gonna get to them too. But women who don't have kids, don't have success, don't have men, and they focus all their energy into getting in alignment with their goals, they have this limitless amount of success, limitless opportunities, limitless expansion. Everything is just limitless. It's no limits. They're living in a world full of opportunities, and it's not to say that, like I said, it's not to say that women don't, but women that do have children and don't acquire success. Now, the women that do have families that they have or they feel obligated to take care of, right? They achieve success by putting all of their attention into themselves, taking back their power and calling back their energy, and really taking the time to get to know themselves. Knowing that women also, birth rate, climate, no marriage, you get time to know who you are. And when you know thyself, knowing thyself is knowing God. So because all the years that you could have had with a child of 18 years, you put all that time and energy to really get to know what you want and get to know yourself. How can you attain any goals if you don't even know what you want or what it is that you're here for? So knowing thyself, taking time to yourself. However, men, they gain clarity when they have sex with women. They gain a sense of, that's why I say men gain clarity when they have sex with women, because they get a sense of their life direction. They get more of a sense of their life's direction, because they will always say, oh, well, she held me down, or she did this, she did that, she was taking care of this, that, and the third. Yeah. So they gave him enough time to think, okay, what do I want to do? Okay. And this is not at all, everybody is different, but this is the perspective and observation that I have really came across, because it's like, okay, think about all the women that have ever gained world recognition or success. They didn't have a lot of kids. They didn't have a lot of kids. They didn't. They weren't married. They gained their legacy. Your legacy comes from your will. It comes from your passion. It comes from your drive, your hunger. People who have a hunger for their creative expression, or to express what it is that brings them interest and a sense of fulfillment. Hunger. I don't know if I talked about it. I think it was in the other video. I talked about how hunger, being hungry, people are hungry for their goals, achieving their goals. Okay? Sometimes for food. But we're talking about, anybody that has ever been horny or whatever, or gotten the moment, so to say, they get hungry. They are hungry for passion and interest, right? But that is the time, whenever you get a hunger or a thirst, that doesn't always mean physically, okay? It's talking about, not talking about, it's really a spiritual meaning behind that. It means go after your goals. Start putting your time, produce your fruits, okay? Take the time to get to know what your goals are, achieve them by using that hunger, using that driving force, your solar plexus, your will. You have the will to take action towards all your ambitions, your desires, your manifestation. This is manifestation, okay? So you get in touch with your soul. This is the power. This is the power of the will. So being more of a child, everybody has child energy. We are all children. It doesn't matter. Instead of looking at it on a physical level, be fruitful and multiply and have a lot of kids. Kids do not benefit women. Depending, hear me, depending on whether or not, if before she has kids and she knows who she is and she gets a sense of who she is and her purpose of what she is here to fulfill, then yes, she is going to be successful regardless, okay? But the person that she's with she's not going to feel like she's giving all her life force energy and she's not getting anything in return. She's recharging herself because she knows herself. This is the power of knowing who you are, what you are, your soul in a human experience that achieves the success of the will through sex. Not literally, not all the time. Now, yes, sexual transmutation. Now, I'm talking about the people that are able to actually transmute the energy of their sexual fantasies through sex from knowing who they are already. And they are, while they're having sex with their partner, they are manifesting and imagining and visualizing it. It's a morphing their world to create their experiences of what they want to have. So the birth rate, it's not about the birth rate declining, okay? Not really. Because the less babies that women have, or no babies that people have. Your baby is your creation. It's your art. It is your creation. All right. So because birth rate declines, patriarchy declines because there will be. I should have said previous expression as well. I'm not trying to, psychosis and stuff. No, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. This is just a broader perspective that I'm giving. So, women achieve success. When they're on the rise, they don't have any kids or marriage. These things are, women extort themselves. They exert themselves to exhaustion. Cook, clean, do this, do that, especially if the person that she's with don't even want to do anything for themselves. That's even taxing, more taxing. But the birth rate that's declining, women are more empowered. If you notice, more women are successful. More women are successful during this time. Why? Because it takes back the power and energy of the woman. So it's not about birth rate per se. At the same time, it is. But it's because patriarchy is falling. And if the women ain't having babies with the man, so kids, spouse, relationships, and what's really taxing to a woman is religion, because religion upholds the man. But here's why patriarchy. We talking about legacy. This is this is the excerpt of a legacy. But patriarchy thrives off of women's sex and shame. Shaming women for this, that, and the other, and want to be, want to be pleasing to the eyes of men. That's how patriarchy is falling. Because women are taking back their power. If you notice, there are a lot of people at this time, celebrities, people of status, trying to have a lot of babies because they know it's coming to an end. Okay, they know. But the more babies or the more men that women have, it's taxing. However, men thrive off of this. That's why men of culture, every culture, a lot of women, they have concubines, because man's success cannot thrive without the help of women and children, or unless he becomes childlike himself. So there you have it, folks. This is the legacy and how men and women attain their legacy. Is one way that they attain their legacy. That is the one thing that they have in common. Men and women have in common children, being a child, being in the character of a child. Okay? But they also share differences. Well, not share differences. They have differences. But that one similarity is in being a kid. But just like kids, they're untamed. They're wild. They roam free.